Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News. It's wonderful having you with us. Electricity consumers have good news. BPL's constructing a brand new power plant at Clifton Pier, promising to deliver improved services by the summer. Our BJ McDermott has the story.
A drastic decrease in electricity bills and improvement in power generation reliability. Welcomed promises BPL CEO Whitney Hasty made at the table today on the heels of an announcement that the electricity giant has entered a contractual agreement with Finnish technology group Wärtsilä. The company is to install a new 132-megawatt engine power plant at the Clifton Pier site at a cost of approximately $95 million by the end of summer.
We have a blended rate in the Bahamas. Right, so it's a one-rate Bahamas whereby we take the fuel that is consumed throughout the islands of the Bahamas and it's blended across the archipelago. And so it's simply a matter of how much fuel oil that we're going to be consuming, right? And so the 130 megawatts, if you would look at it this way, is about 50% of the total peak load that is experienced in New Providence. Okay, New Providence today, the fuel consumption today is about 80% diesel and 20% heavy fuel oil. So we're going to quickly shift the load from being a much diesel burning entity to a heavy fuel oil burning entity. So we would anticipate that fuel charge is going to drop drastically.
Furthermore, BPL will be getting out of the business of using rental units to supply consumers with electricity. After all, this came at a cost of a whopping nearly $2 million per month. As for blackouts, Wärtsilä business development specialist Edmund Phillips says consumers will soon not have to contend with that anymore.
These plants will experience, as I mentioned, upwards of about 99.99% reliability because of the way it's constructed. Having said that, you will see a dramatic reduction in generation outages.
The BPL CEO added that Wärtsilä engines are prime movers that are most suitable for the Bahamas' environment. Reporting for JCN News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
While BPL's new plant will be built at the existing station, a building at Clifton Pier, BPL CEO Whitney Hasty said the station had been stripped of 4 1980s vintage two-stroke engines and auxiliary equipment since 2016. He added that civil engineering upgrades are being completed at the station to accommodate 7 new high-efficiency Wärtsilä engines. The new plant will be tri-fuel capable of burning heavy fuel oil, diesel oil, or liquefied natural gas, or LNG. The punishment for egregious crimes, hanging, hasn't happened in the Bahamas since January 2000, but that has not stopped the call for the government to abolish the death penalty and break away from what is termed fake solidarity that hinders the Caribbean on death penalty abolition. That call was made by the executive director of Together Against Death Penalty, or ECPM, Rafael Hassan, who made his plea to the government during an interview with the Bahama Journal at the 7th World Congress Against Death Penalty in Brussels, Belgium.
You have many countries who would be happy to stop this approach and to say, okay, we have differences. We are all from Caribbean, but we do not think that we do not use the death penalty, we do not need the death penalty.
Expressing concerns over the Bahamas keeping the death penalty as law and not using it, he argues that other English-speaking Caribbean countries do the same, but he considers this practice to be a bad example. Mr. Hassan says it's kind of shaming and countries in the Caribbean should stop this fake regional solidarity.
This solidarity could be broken by a new solidarity from new Caribbean countries. All the Caribbean countries who do not apply the death penalty should create a new solidarity among them. First, do not vote against the resolution at the UNGA. At least if they abstain, it is a resolution on a moratorium of execution. All Caribbean countries, states, vote against this resolution. Bahamas should vote. It's normal, it's logical. Dominica should vote in favor, but they don't. Just because of this strange solidarity. You should go behind and have your own identity based on your own situation.
Mr. Hazan says one way the ECPM is attempting to bring awareness to abolishing the death penalty is to take several approaches. As he says, killing as a capital punishment is not a deterrent to crime.
You apply the death penalty and then the crime rates decrease. No, it is not true. And it is not true because everywhere in the world, including everywhere in the US, when you have death penalty, you do not have lowest crime rate. There is no relationship. So maybe it's complicated to understand, but do not hope that applying the death penalty will bring security. Applying death penalty will bring violence, state violence. And it is a symbolic state violence.
Now, although the Bahamas is identified by Amnesty International as a retentionist state, one of the 52 around the world where the death penalty is implemented, it has a de facto moratorium on the death penalty. 19 years ago, Bahamian national David Mitchell was hanged after being convicted for stabbing to death a German couple visiting the Bahamas. Mitchell had an appeal pending before the Inter-American Court of Human Rights at the time of his execution. ECPM is a French non-governmental organization with a mission to abolish the death penalty worldwide. Well, it's March 4th, and it's unclear whether all Free National Movement parliamentarians have met the March 1st public disclosure deadline. This coming from FNM Chairman Carl Culmer yesterday in an interview with our news team. This is also after House Speaker Housen Moultrie reminded MPs at the last sitting of the House on Wednesday. Now, the Public Disclosure Act requires senators, members of parliament, senior public officers, and public appointees to declare assets, incomes, and liabilities as at December 31st and before the 1st of March. What we can tell you is that Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands and Exuma and Ragged Island MP Chester Cooper posted their disclosure receipts on their social media pages this past Friday. Meantime, Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Fred Mitchell announced on Friday that all PLP parliamentarians have complied with the provisions of the Public Disclosure Act 1976 by filing the executed Form A. All declarations are examined by the Public Disclosure Commission. The commission comprises of a chairman, a secretary, and 2 members who are appointed by the Governor General on the recommendation of the Prime Minister after consultation with the Leader of the Opposition. 2 Cabinet Office staff members are also posted there to perform administrative duties. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.